Shalom. This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. I want to start off by saying thank you to all of our Booster Club members for your many donations and much more, your prayers. We visited faraway countries and strange lands. We've even spoken to dignitaries and were detained for spreading the glorious gospel in Cuba. The truth is that the descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel were scattered throughout the world. Help us on our journey as we continue to raise up the nation of Israel. 12 tribes worldwide. Join or donate today. Shalom.
Darius, we're going to read this again. I want you to break it down for us, all right? This is how you become a mighty prophet. Go for it. All right, read it again.
Revelation chapter 11 and verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city.
Read.
Which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified.
All right, Darius, stand up and break that down for us.
Shalom.
Hey, shalom, shalom.
Verse 8 means
Read it again for him. We're going to break it down line by line.
Verse 8.
Come on.
And their dead bodies.
Their dead bodies. What is that talking about?
dead spirits. No.
Of who?
Of Israelites.
Israelites. All right, what precept can we use to prove that that's going into spirits? What precept can we use? Look like he's going to the right spot. What book is it in?
John.
Proverbs 21 and 16, man. All right, read that, Losage.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 21 and verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead.
All right, so it says the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding, which is what, brothers? The what? What is the way of understanding? The laws of God, the commandments of God shall remain in the congregation of the dead. All right, so y'all better write that thing down. All right, starting off bad today. I might change the class midway. Proverbs 21:16. Remember, we Israelites, man. Y'all better be studying. All right? You can't teach in the streets if you don't know the Bible. Remember that. And God ordained us to be what? Kings and priests. Priests do what? They teach the law. All right, read what you got.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 21 and verse 16.
Come on.
The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead.
Revelations 11 and 8. Let's go right back to it.
Revelation, chapter 11 and verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city.
What's the great city, brothers? America. America. Read.
Which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
Which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. Read.
Where also our Lord was crucified.
Why is it spiritually called Sodom and Egypt? Why? Brother James.
Shalom, leadership.
Shalom.
Because here in Babylon the Great, we take on the attributes of Sodom, which was going into all manner of concupiscence, lasciviousness, and Egypt going into idolatry and worshiping other gods.
Right. Sun worship, all of that
Yes, sir.
there. Very good, very good. All right, so we ain't starting off too good, but now we're finna dive into the class. Give me Psalms 106. Remember the name of today's topic, when we were in Egypt. All right, so make sure you brothers are studying, reaching out to your counselors. All right, I better not hear about any of y'all that got that wrong, not reaching out to find out why you got it wrong, okay? Read what you got. I want Psalms 106. We're going to read down a little bit. I want you to start at verse. I wrote it down wrong. Give me a sec. Psalms 105. And I want you to start at verse 6.
The book of Psalms, chapter 105 and verse 6.
Come on.
O ye seed of Abraham, his servant, ye children of Jacob, his chosen.
All right, so it's giving you the lineage. All right, it didn't say Esau. That's a quick cutter right there. It says, O ye seed of Abraham. It went down to what? Isaac, then Jacob. Okay, his chosen. All right, read on.
He is the Lord our God. His judgments are in all the earth.
Read.
He hath remembered his covenant forever.
How long?
Forever.
All right, but in this captivity, sometimes we tend to forget that thing. All right, we act as if God doesn't hear us or doesn't see what's going on down here. Okay, as we get, as the class goes on, you'll see what I'm alluding to, what I'm referring to. Okay, let's read on.
He hath remembered his covenant forever.
Uh-huh.
The word which he commanded to 1,000 generations.
1,000 generations. Not to everybody, but like he said in verse 6, to his chosen. Read.
Which covenant he made with Abraham.
Uh-huh.
And his oath unto Isaac.
Come on.
And confirmed the same unto Jacob for a law. And to Israel for an everlasting covenant.
Everlasting. How long is that, brothers? Forever, right? Forever. Read on.
Saying, unto thee will I give the land of Canaan, the lot of your inheritance.
Now, the land of Canaan was originally belonged to what nation? Ham, which is the forefather of who? Yeah, good job, James. Nobody else knew that. Okay, so now you did good. You did good. So Ham is the forefather of the Africans, brothers. All right, read on.
Verse 12.
Come on.
When they were but a few men in number, yea, very few, and strangers in it, when they went from one nation to another, from one kingdom to another people,
Read on.
he suffered no man to do them wrong.
Who's the them, brothers? The Israelites. Very good. Read verse 14 again.
He suffered no man to do them wrong. Yeah, he reproved kings for their sakes.
So God said he reproved, all right, he removed or destroyed kings for their sakes. Come on.
Saying, touch not mine anointed, and do my prophets no harm.
Read.
Moreover, he called for a famine upon the land.
So what's this history going into? Let me see who reads. If you would have got up in the morning for the 8 chapters a day, we already read through Genesis. So you should know what this is talking to. And I just said what book, right? So what is this talking about? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Darren, what is this talking about? Give Darren the mic. Yes, that's how we doing it from now on. That's how we doing it. What you got for me? What's his history?
Read that for me again.
Read, what's that? 16 for him.
Psalms 105 and verse 16. Moreover, he called for a famine upon the land. He brake the whole staff of bread.
All right, what's that talking about? Let me hear James.
Shalom, leadership.
Uh-huh.
This part here is going into when Joseph prophesied to Pharaoh that the land was going to go through famine. I think it was like 7 years.
Continue.
7 years of plenteous and 7 years of famine, and how to get through that. He was telling them how to get through that, like to, that they had to store food.
But think about this. You're right. You're right on that aspect in regards to Joseph being in Egypt, right? What about Jacob and his sons when they were in Canaan? Tell me about that part.
Oh, yes, sir. So Jacob, they all had to flee down into Egypt, Jacob and all his sons, because Israel was going into famine.
Right. At that time, were we a nation yet?
No, sir.
No, we were not a nation yet. Okay,
Yes,
very
yes,
good,
sir.
Brother James. Yes, all right, read verse 16 again.
Verse 16. Moreover, he called for a famine upon the land. He brake the whole staff of bread. He sent a man before them, even Joseph, who was sold for a servant.
Who was sold for a servant. Remember, his brothers were jealous. They sold him to the Arabs, sold him to the Egyptians. Okay, this is a recap of the history. That's all this is. Read on.
Whose feet they hurt with fetters.
The fetters is going into what? Shackles. Come on.
He was laid in iron until the time that his word came.
Until the time that his word came. The time that his word came, that's how he got freed out of prison. Okay, remember, Joseph was in prison, I forget how many years off the top of my head. But yeah, he was in prison. Somebody look that up for me. One of y'all find that out for me. He was in prison for some time. All right, the Most High God allowed him to get out of prison by what? The gift that he gave him to interpret Pharaoh's dream. Okay, read on.
The word of the Lord tried him.
Uh-huh.
The king sent and loosed him,
Read.
even the ruler of the people, and let him go free.
Right. His name would be called what? Pharaoh. All right, come on.
He made him lord of his house,
Uh-huh.
and ruler of all his substance.
Read on.
To bind his princes at his pleasure, to teach his servants. Excuse me.
Read verse 22 again.
Verse 22. To bind his princes at his pleasure, to teach his senators wisdom.
Right, to teach his senators wisdom. So understand, Joseph, he was second in command over all of Egypt. Okay, and we're going to dabble into that foolishness called Egyptology today, just a little bit. But when those Egyptologists tried to say that they have the knowledge, all right, yes, was Egypt a nation before Israel? Absolutely. But the Most High God, through his perfect wisdom, allowed who? He allowed Joseph, which was from Israel, the nation of Israel, to teach his senators wisdom. Okay, different maths, different sciences. Okay, when you read what Josephus, it goes into more detail about what he taught them. All right, read this verse again.
Verse 22. To bind his princes at his pleasure, and teach his senators wisdom.
Read.
Israel also came into Egypt, and Jacob sojourned in the land of Ham.
Right, it says Israel also came into Egypt, and Jacob sojourned in the land of Ham. Remember, Canaan was originally what? Who originally lived there? I'm glad I'm asking these questions. Yes, you're right. Anybody got a precept? James, let me hear what you were going to say. You're going to say something different?
Shalom leadership. I was just going to say the Canaanites.
Yeah, there was other nations there too. Go to Joshua 13 real quick. Okay. Go to Joshua 13. And give me a second, I think it's verse 3. 13 years. He was Joseph, the forefather, was in prison for 13 years. Okay. That's how he was being tried. Yes. Read that, verse 3.
The book of Joshua, chapter 13 and verse 3.
Come on.
From Seor, which is before Egypt, even unto the borders of Ekron northward, which is counted to the Canaanites.
Which is counted to the Canaanite. Read on.
5 lords of the Philistines, the Gazathites, and the Ashathites, and Eshkolites, and the Gittites, and the Ekronites, also the Abites. From the south, all the land of the Canaanites, and Mirah, that is beside the Zidonas.
Oh, goodness gracious. Verse 4, it says, from the south, all the land of the Canaanites, and Mirah, that is beside the Sidonians, unto Aphek, to the borders of the Amorites, and the land of the Giblites, and all Lebanon, toward the sun rising from Baal Gad, under Mount Hermon, unto the entering into Hamath. So, yeah, you're right when you say Canaanite, but understand there was many different Hamitic nations within the land of Canaan, okay? Give me that in Leviticus 18 real quick. I want verse 20, I think it's 24. Let me look at it. Yeah, 24. Watch this.
Leviticus 18 and verse 24. Defile not ye yourselves in any of these things, for in all these the nations are defiled.
Right, the nations. They're showing you all these Hamitic nations that were in the land of Canaan before we got there. And the commandment was for us, what? Not to defile ourselves with these other nations. Read it again.
Defile not ye yourselves in any of these things, for in all these the nations are defiled, which I cast out before you. And the land is defiled. Therefore, I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it, and the land itself vomited out her inhabitants.
Right, because the Most High God at this time, he got sick and tired of the abominations from these Hamites. He said, all right, now's the time for y'all to be kicked out and destroyed. Now the righteous seed is going to come inhabit this land, which is Canaan, which is named turned to what? Israel, once our forefathers became a nation. All right, now let's go back to Psalms. Let's go back to Psalms. It was in Psalms 105 and verse, let's see, 23.
The book of Psalms, chapter 105 and verse 23.
Come on.
Israel also came into Egypt, and Jacob sojourned in the land of Ham.
Come on.
And he increased his people greatly and made them stronger than their enemies.
You see that? God made us stronger than our enemies when we were in bondage. You understand that, right? I don't think we really understand that sometimes, all right? Because sometimes we have the wrong mentality, okay? Understand the reason why all this affliction is happening to us is because they fear us. Understand that. Give me that in Exodus 1:12. Exodus chapter 1 and verse 12. We was going over this in the radio show. We had an article to show that when it came to the Latino population at the University of California, the Latinos just by themselves, they outnumber the whites with their new freshman class. That's just Latinos. That's just like two tribes, one or two tribes. All right. You don't consider all of their other brothers and sisters, which make up the 12 tribes of Israel. All right. So those just few tribes out of all of these years have now what? Are starting to be the majority, right, in this kingdom. All right. Watch this.
The book of Exodus, chapter 1 and verse 12.
Come on.
But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew.
Right. So the more we get chastised, afflicted, mistreated, the Most High God, he's showing who the real people of God are. Okay. It's us. We're the ones who are going to what? End up being the majority. Well, we are the majority right now. We've just been what? We've been told that we're American black, Haitian, Dominican, Puerto Rican, Mexican. Yeah, we've always been the majority. All right. But he's going to increase us even more. All right. Let's go back to Psalms 105. And let's read 24. I want you to read down to 25.
The book of Psalms, chapter 105 and verse 24. And he increased his people greatly.
Come on.
And made them stronger than their enemies. He turned their heart to hate his people.
Come on.
To deal subtly with his servants.
Right. So what are we realizing now, man? We're seeing some of the craziest, police brutality videos. Hey, see if you could find a clip for me, the one that happened in, I think, Virginia. The brother was actually videotaping a police officer, and he gave the video a thumbs up. He said, I'm going to count to 3. He didn't even care if he was being filmed. Took him out and still whooped him. Find that video for me real quick. You got it? Yeah, find it. Send it to him so he can play it. All right. Let's go to Psalms 106 real quick. Psalms chapter 106 and verse 8. So understand this. We went through hard bondage. All right. The Most High God put the spirit on our enemies to afflict us even more. But through that time, we grew stronger and stronger. All right. And ultimately, we know that God used Moses to deliver us from the hand of the Egyptians. OK, watch this.
The book of Psalms, chapter 106 and verse 8. Nevertheless, he saved them for his name's sake.
Because God decided to put his name on the people that he chose, which happens to be us. Okay, so he says he saved us for his name's sake, not for us. Because remember, as soon as we got saved, what happened in the wilderness? What we started doing? We started rebelling. We started complaining, saying, Moses, you brought us all the way out here to die. You understand? Read verse 8 again.
Nevertheless, you
got it? Yeah. Okay, all praise. So this is going into Psalms 105:25. It says, he turned their heart to hate his people, to deal subtly with his servants. All right, play that.
Can't do that, sir. This officer is trying to unlock my car. This officer is unlocking my car. They just illegally entered my car. And I'm being forcefully removed.
Take a look at me. I'm a fucking specimen right here, buddy.
Sir, I'm
you
in
have gotten on my last
My
nerve.
hands are up on camera.
All right?
I'm in no threat.
You're
going to
get your ass whooped in front of fucking Lord and all creation. I'm going to give you one more chance.
I'm being threatened.
You can bring that with you. I'll let you film the whole thing.
I'm being threatened right now.
I'm giving you a chance.
I am not doing anything. I feel
I'm giving
unsafe.
you a chance.
I feel unsafe. And I'm in no threat to these 3 officers. My hands are up. I am doing nothing wrong to provoke anybody or anything. Making sure this is all recorded. I've just been threatened by a lawful officer. I have just been threatened by a law officer as 2 other officers stand by and say absolutely nothing. Willing to participate. My passenger door was open. My driver door was open. I have it on camera. He rolled my window down to do so.
I'm giving you to the count of 3.
Sir, this is
giving
all
you-
on camera. I am not
Sure,
resisting. I'm
that's
making
fine.
sure it is being known. I am not
Yeah.
resisting.
Okay.
My hands are up. One hand on this camera.
Well, come on,
My
then.
seatbelt is being arrested.
As long as your
Look at
hands
this.
are up, that's fine.
I'm not resisting.
As long as your hands are
I
up.
was unlawfully.
Okay, come on
Sir,
up.
please do not touch me, sir.
Keep your phone out.
Sir, please do not touch me.
See, that's where we're coming to a disagreement.
It's not about
I'm
this.
giving you to the count of
I'm
3.
being-
You don't do this.
Sir,
Don't do it.
I'm
Don't
not
do it,
touching
man.
this officer. It's
Don't
on
do
camera.
it.
My hand is by
Step
my
out of
head.
the car right
I'm being
now.
threatened.
Now you're
I'm being
under arrest.
threatened.
Now you're
I'm being
under arrest
threatened,
for
sir.
disobeying the
I
law
was
of commands of
being
an officer.
disobeying.
I'm giving you
lawfully
to the count
detained.
of 3.
This officer has threatened me, and I'm
1,
making it known I am no threat to this
2.
officer. I've been threatened.
Watch the show,
My
folks.
life is in danger. My life is.
All right, that's all I wanted on that. That's all I wanted on that. So yeah, understand that this is all an act. The Most High God, He controls the kingdom of men. Understand that. Give me the book of Psalms, chapter 106, just for the time for it to calm down. That's all.
The book of Psalms, chapter 106 and verse 8.
Come on,
Nevertheless, he saved them for his name's sake.
read that again.
Nevertheless, he saved them for his name's
The
sake.
Bible says God saved us for His name's sake. Understand that thing when you read what Ezekiel 36. We go over that all the time. God didn't do it for us. We're not worthy of that. Okay, read it again.
Nevertheless, he saved them for his name's sake.
Come on.
That he might make his mighty power to be known.
That He might make His mighty power to be known in the earth. So, do y'all think it was a talk of the world when He delivered the Israelites from the hand of the Egyptians? You think that was talked about? You think the other nations knew about that thing? Read it again.
Nevertheless, he saved them for his name's sake.
Come on.
That he might make his mighty power to be known.
That He might make His mighty power to be known. So understand, we're in Egypt all over again. All right, we ended up right back where we started. But understand, it's of the will of God. All right, so the Most High God can get the glory at the end of the day. Read down to verse 13, please.
Verse 9.
Come on.
He rebuked the Red Sea also, and it was dried up. So he led them through the depths as through the wilderness.
Come on.
And he saved them from the hand of him that hated them, and redeemed them from the hand of the enemy.
Right, don't we got some people in this captivity that hate us? Right, we got the same thing going on in this captivity. Come on.
And the waters covered their enemies.
Uh-huh.
There was not one of them left. Then believed they his words. They sang his praise.
Right, so we sang the praise of the Most High for delivering us out of the hand of the Egyptians when what? When we were almost dead and He decided to what? Destroy the Egyptians through the plagues. All right, they chased us to the Red Sea. He parted the Red Sea. We walked through it. All right, then He killed all the Egyptians that chased after us. Then we want to say, whoa, thank you, Jesus, like we always do. Okay? Let's just say, you ever lost your wallet before? Anybody ever lost your wallet? Right. And you do all the backtracking to, go over to where you were before. You got to retrace your steps, and you finally find your wallet. I know I've done it before. I say, thank you, God. Thank you. You understand? Go ahead. You got something on that?
Yeah. Actually, I remember back in high school.
Really?
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes, I do. I'm going to tell you why. I lost my wallet, and I was going crazy looking for it. And then one of those brothers find it. They took the money, though. But once I get it, I was happy. I don't care about the money, but I find my wallet back. So,
Well, did you thank God, officer?
hell yeah.
Okay, all praises, officer. Read 12 and 13 together.
The book of Psalms, chapter 106 and verse 12.
Come on.
Then believed they his words. They sang his praise. They soon forgot his works. They waited not for his counsel.
All right, so it said as soon as we get delivered, as soon as the Most High come through, immediately we forget what He's done for us, okay? So it says they soon forgot His works. They waited not for His counsel. Now think about today. I know it's 2020, and our deliverance from Egypt happened like, what, hold on a second, 31. About a little bit over 3,000 years ago, right? That's when our deliverance occurred. No, it's like 4,000. It's like 4,000. Yeah, you're right. Who said that? Joshua? What's his name? Isaiah? Yeah, about 4,000. I'm trying to see the timeline in my head. So yeah, about 4,000 years ago, and we have biblical evidence. We have historical evidence when you read history books. Okay, this is something that is not a fairy tale. The children of Israel existed. We know that for a fact. All right, but when we read the scriptures, it's supposed to do what for us? It's supposed to bring these things back to our remembrance. It's supposed to give us comfort. It's supposed to give us hope. All right, so I'm saying this for a reason. It says they soon forgot his works. They waited not for his counsel. So same thing in our captivity today. We have to be able to do what? We have to wait on God. Even if things ain't going our way, we still got to have what? Patience and understanding. He's already done it before. That means he could do it again, and he will do it again. All right. From there, give me oh, I got a book. I had a book real quick. All right, this is title of this book is The Great Ages of Man and History of the World Cultures. All right, this one's going into ancient Egypt, okay? All right, so let's go to page, let's see. All right, I'm going to go to page 16, and I'm going to start at the third paragraph. All right, the third paragraph. All right, so it says, it was not until 1798, when Napoleon launched his conquest of Egypt, that the veil began to lift. Accompanying Napoleon's troops was a small array of savants dedicated to a study of the valley of the Nile. All right, so this is the French, okay? This is the French right here under the lead of Napoleon. All right, we bring this out for a reason. I'm going to read down. It says, under their administrations, there began to take shape a picture of a vital people endowed with great skill. The discovery by one of Napoleon's officers of the Rosetta Stone, a fragment of a stele inscribed not only in hieroglyphics, but also in an Egyptian script called Demotic, and in Greek, provided the final key to Egypt's lost history. All right, so they say. So I got to say that, so they say. So in a nutshell, to explain that, it's saying that one of his savants that was with him, or one of his researchers, they stumbled on the Rosetta Stone, which means hieroglyphics was a language. You already know Greek was a language, and Egyptian was a language. So it had the transcripts to show the parallels of those three languages, meaning they could now understand and read the hieroglyphics because it was written in Greek and Egyptian. Y'all with me on that? All right, read on. Sheesh, I'm reading. All right, it says, its bilingual text made it possible for the philologist Jean-Francois Champollion, okay, who had devoted years to the study of ancient languages, to announce in 1822 that the enigma of the hieroglyphs had been solved. For the first time, the pictographs could be read. All right, so understand this. Give me Job 5:12 real quick. So this is the French. So you have to remember this. Back in 31 BC, Alexander the Great, he conquered Egypt, okay? They were the same way. They were mesmerized. They were astonished by their great wisdom, the artifacts, all of that. But they could not understand the reading of the hieroglyphs. So guess what? In 1798, here comes the same spirit of Esau again. They're trying to crack the code. All right, so he comes back in the form of Napoleon, okay, in the French. And a man by the name of Jean-Francois Champollion. What I called just now?
Job 5:12.
Read that.
The book of Job, chapter 5 and verse 12.
Come on.
He disappointed the devices of the crafty.
So the Most High God disappoints the devices of the crafty. Read.
So that their hands cannot perform their enterprise.
There you go. So that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Their enterprise is that they want to fool the whole world that what civilization began with them. That's what they want to do. They want to deceive the masses and say that they were the Egyptians, they're the Greeks, They're the Israelites. They're, what is that? They're the last Mohican. They're the last samurai. They're everybody. They're everybody on the face of the earth. All right, so understand that. Now, this man by the name of Jean-Francois Champollion, he is the founder of one of the dumbest things that our people follow, Egyptology. Okay? Egyptology, just like we got brothers and sisters caught up in what? Christianity. You understand? That's the white man's religion. You got our brothers caught up in Islam. That's the Arab man's religion. And we have another belief right here, Egyptology, which is a white French man's belief system. Okay? But you got our people caught up in that thing, and they swear that that is the true understanding of the hieroglyphs. All right. But in those hieroglyphs, aren't the children of Israel on those hieroglyphs? Yeah, they are. So you mean to tell me out of all of these years, they couldn't figure out that it was the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that was in Egypt? So you always got to scratch your heads like, bro, how do you know that to be fact? How do you know the white man's telling the truth? Give me Sirach 12:10 real quick. Give me Sirach chapter 12, verse 10. They have an enterprise to fulfill. Their enterprise is to make sure you Negroes, you blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, stay asleep. All right, so it's time for our brothers and sisters to come out that foolishness, that Egyptology mindset. It's time to put that thing to the side, man. Read what you got.
The book of Sirach, chapter 12 and verse 10.
Come on.
Never trust thine enemy.
The Bible says, never trust thine enemy. Come on.
For as like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness.
So is his wickedness. Give me Revelations 12:9. All right. Then we're going to get back on track. Give me Revelations 12:9.
Revelation chapter 12 and verse 9.
All right, watch this.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world.
Which what?
Deceiveth the whole world.
Deceiveth the whole world. Remember when we read that in Job 5:12. But God is not going to allow that to happen. God is not going to allow that thing to happen, brothers and sisters. Read verse 9 again.
Verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the
Uh-huh.
devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
His angels was cast out with him, showing that he has followers. Who is those followers? Those who rule America. Those who rule the world. Give me that in Job 9:24. Job chapter 9, verse 24. The reason why we not ruling right now is because we transgress against the Most High. Okay? Read that.
The book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
Come on.
He covereth the faces of the judges thereof.
Right, he covereth the faces of the judges. All right, not only the judges, we read in the history. Also, I'm sorry, during that, what was that, from 1798 to like 1803, I believe, that's when Napoleon made his conquest over that. It was Ottoman territory because they were the ones who were ruling in Egypt at that time. He knocked off, the big sphinx. You understand? Like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Those big sphinx in Egypt. He knocked off the noses. Why do you think he did that, brothers? Brother James, why do you think he did that?
Shalom, leadership.
Shalom.
He did that so that we wouldn't realize that he wouldn't realize that we were the Israelites and that those were actually black people or us, because the nose is a distinctive feature.
Right. Exactly. So we couldn't realize that black people ruled in such a great fashion.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Exactly. That's exactly why he did it. You have something on that?
Yeah, to add on what you were saying, because you also mentioned the Greeks, Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great, so-called the Great.
Alexander the Gay, because he was definitely gay. We know that for a fact.
I like that better. One other thing that they did, because remember, those sphinx that you're talking about, Greeks didn't have the understanding how to make.
Right.
Yeah, and then come into Egypt, and they see how they had those great big things that was proportionally done. So not only they steal those ideas and a bunch of other stuff that they stole from the Egyptian and make it their own. And then if you connect it with us, who teach the Egyptians a lot of those stuff that they understood? It coming from us. We taught that to them. It's the same thing with the Sphinx, the pyramids. We build those stuff. So that's a big connection.
Right, and it says this in this book as well. This is the second chapter. It says a godly beast standing guard. First paragraph. It says Egyptian civilization was already ancient when the first Greek travelers came to Egypt and discovered standing at the edge of the desert the strange limestone beast which they called the Sphinx. This may have been a Greek corruption of the Egyptians' designation of the monument, but nothing like this Sphinx have been seen in Greece. Right, so there's no, you know how Esau is. They don't ever want anybody to be better than them. Okay, so they had to what? They had to adopt the Egyptian culture. And then later on say that what? They are the Egyptians, okay? Because they didn't want somebody, especially those of dark skin, to, what was that? Be superior. Thank you.
You know what, Cap? To show you how Esau, like Bishop like to say, they always 10 steps ahead of the common. They knew coming to Egypt, like you were saying, coming to Egypt, seeing those big fangs, the big nose, big lips, to be running, like, okay, if those people start understanding that this is them, what's that say about us?
Right, but that's what's happening right now. We read this in the radio show, but watch this. Give me Habakkuk 2 real quick. Give me the book of Habakkuk, the second chapter. That's exactly right. And they're trying to keep that secret. They're trying to keep everything a secret. Because understand this, everything that America has was built off of lies. Understand that first and foremost. Start at verse 5.
The book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 5.
Come on.
Yea, also, because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man.
Very proud, very, very proud. Come on.
Neither keepeth at home.
Right. They saw Egypt. They said, I have to have it. Come on.
Who enlargeth his desire as hell.
Come on.
And is as death.
And is as death. Come on.
And cannot be satisfied. But gathereth unto him all nations.
He gathereth unto him all nations. Now jump down to verse 7.
Verse 7. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee?
So that's going into the other nations. The scripture is saying, just because you're proud does not mean that these nations one day are not going to get you back for what you've done in the earth. Okay? Read verse 7 again.
Verse 7.
Come on.
Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee? And awake that shall vex thee?
Come on.
And thou shalt be for booties unto them.
Now you're going to be the spoils. You're going to be the reward unto these nations. Come on.
Because thou hast spoiled many nations. All the remnant of the people shall spoil thee.
Read.
Because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein.
Right. So now, well, not yet. It's starting to happen. It's starting to happen because think about the post from Deshaun Jackson, excuse me, Ice Cube, Nick Cannon. The reason why they're in uproar is because they understand that's part of the lie, man. You're messing up what we've been working on for the last few thousands of years. Okay, remember when the Greeks first saw the Sphinx, they were amazed. They couldn't believe it. All right, that was in BC era. It took all the way up into 1798 with Napoleon to come through to actually carry their agenda out. You got to understand that thing. They've been working at this for some time. But understand, the only thing that could tear all of it down is this Bible. It's going to tear it down just like that. Let's finish this class because I'm going to go somewhere else. What time is it? All right, I'm going to make it real fast. So we covered what? Our time in Egypt. We covered that. Go back to Psalms 106 for me real quick. And I want you to read verse 13.
Psalms 106 and verse 13.
Come on.
They soon forget his works. They waited not for his counsel. That was 13.
That was 13? All right, we forgot his works. Give me Jeremiah 2:33. I'm going to go a little fast. It's not a long topic. Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 33. I want you to read down to 36. Read that.
Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 33.
Come on.
Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love?
Uh-huh.
Therefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways.
Now, it says, why would you trimmest thy way? Meaning, when you trim your ways, you're trimming your ways against the commandments. That's what it's talking about. Read on.
Also in thy skirts is found the blood of the souls of the poor innocents.
Uh-huh.
I have not found it by secret search, but upon all these.
Read on.
Yet thou sayest, because I am innocent, surely his anger shall turn from me. Behold, I will plead with thee, because thou sayest, I have not sinned.
Read.
Why gaddest thou about so much to change thy way? Thou also shalt be ashamed of Egypt, as thou was ashamed of Assyria.
Now, what it's saying is what? When we got in these various captivities, we wanted to do what? We wanted to trust in Egypt. And we're going to read that. Give me Isaiah 30. We're going to read that real quick. We wanted to trust in our oppressor more than we wanted to trust in the Most High God. All right? Give me that in, what's that, Psalm 62:10? Is that what I want? Trust not in oppression? Yeah, read that one real quick, and then give me Isaiah 30. Okay? This is going for our brothers and sisters who don't realize that what happened to us when we was in Egypt. Those who are of little faith. Okay? Read it.
The book of Psalm, chapter 62 and verse 10.
Even though they're mightier in regards to an economic sense, you understand, that does not mean that they have the power of the Almighty. Okay? Read what you got.
Psalm 62 and verse 10.
Uh-huh.
Trust not in oppression.
The Bible tells us not to trust in oppression. Read.
And become not vain in robbery.
And become not vain in robbery. All right? Go back and read that in Isaiah 30. Isaiah chapter 30. Let me look at it with you. And read 1 through 3.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 30 and verse 1.
Come on.
Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me.
Right, that take counsel, but not of God. They'd rather follow what? America. They'd rather follow the ways of the heathen rather than the Most High God. Read on.
And that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit.
Come on.
That they may add sin unto sin.
Read on.
That walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt.
And to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Read on.
Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame.
Right. So in the day of salvation, right, the Egyptians would be your shame. That's what's going to happen, just like today. Those who would rather follow the ways of America. Okay, in the day when the Israelites are saved, America's going to be your shame, because why? You're going to see your brothers and sisters get delivered while you're here getting destroyed with your oppressor.
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.